The idea was to create a place where everyone who walks in the gate feels that they've come home.
When we think about flower children, the first thing that comes to mind is Woodstock and hippie communes. But this small village of Mevo Modi'im, adjacent to the central city of Modi'in and close to Jerusalem, is also an outcome of this movement, created and inspired by the so-called singing rabbi, Shlomo Carlebach.
When I was very young, we had 5 records. It was Brahms, Beethoven, Bach, and Shlomo. That was his first record. It was Lule Torah. There was this picture of him with the guitar, and I loved it. So then later, my father would bring a record from Shlomo record, to Holland, to Amsterdam. I loved the Nigonim, but I looked at the picture of this record and you saw some hippies sitting on the stairs, and I would think, oh my God, how would it be to be part of them?
He was vibrating good energy. He had amazing things to say about the world and God. And he drew an energy that made me want to go and be in Israel eventually.
During the 1970s, a group of young Jews who admired Rabbi Shlomo Carlebach, a well-known Jewish scholar and singer, gathered in a center called the House of Love and Prayer in San Francisco.
I happened to meet him in San Francisco when he was there trying to find all the Jewish leaders of all the social movements, all the protest movements, and all of the movers and shakers of that, the anti-war movement and the vegetarian movement. The whole thing was happening in San Francisco. And he left the yeshiva, and he was the star pupil of Rabbi Aaron Kotler, who was like the head of Lakewood Yeshiva. And he risked his own reputation to go out and find us. He came to us, and he found us. He found us in all of the love-ins and the be-ins, but because we were drawn to the music.
In 1975, Mevo Modi'im was founded by Rabbi Carlebach and a small group of followers, most of them Americans. The beginning wasn't easy for the newcomers who had to leave their comfort zone and move to a foreign country. But many of the founders recalled the beginning as an uplifting experience.
I went for a year to university in New York, and then I went out to California to meet a friend. Ended up falling in love with California and stayed there and joined up with people, and they were buying land, and ended up in this piece of land in Mendocino County. And eventually, I guess about a year or two later, my husband also moved onto that land. We had music, we had gatherings, we kind of augmented the ceremonies of the Indians, and but then my husband started thinking, well, we're Jewish, like ma'am, and I'm like, Jewish? I don't relate to that. I don't have any Jewish identity. And he said, well, look, we checked out everything else. Let's check out Judaism. Maybe there's a rabbi we could speak to. Shlomo said to us, go to Jerusalem and learn Gemara. And we basically sold everything we had. We left our house in the hands of friends, and we said, we'll be back in a year, we're going to Jerusalem. And we packed up 2 guitars, a mandolin, a banjo, our 2 kids, and a couple of suitcases. That was it. This was a little 2-lane road. We were the end of the road. Beyond us was Kivrot Maccabim and the Arab Kfarot. There was no Modi'in, there was no Shilat, there was no Lapid, no Hashmonaim. None of that existed at that time. Right. If you got here, this is the end of the road. After this, it's the airport, and you're out of here.
Painter Yitzchak Ben Yehuda came to Mevo Modi'im almost by accident. But what was supposed to be a brief tour of the site became a 45-year romance.
I'm a refugee from Egypt, from Cairo. And when I came to Israel, I was 27 years old, married with 2 children. And I was traveling around. I had a mobile home, like a big bus. I went to Eilat, to Sfat, to Jerusalem. And after 10 days, I thought, it's nice, but, let's go back. I was living in Greece at the time. Just before leaving to go back to Haifa to put the bus on the boat to go back to Piraeus in Greece, somebody mentioned the Moshav. Somebody said to me, are you Jewish? I said, no, I'm not Jewish. He said, what's your mother's name? And I said, Elian Levi. He says, Levi's a Jewish name. And there's a guy listening to the conversation. He says to me, why don't you stay? Pesach's coming. I said, who's he? I thought Pesach was the name of some guy who was coming to the Moshav. Anyway, long story short, when I found out I was Jewish, because I called my mother, it wasn't just information. I realized it was the next siman on the journey.
In 1994, Rabbi Shlomo Carlebach suddenly died at the age of only 69.
I feel there's been a lot more music, musicians, singers, young people bringing out really good music. So I think Shlomo brought music and joy back to the Jewish people. The place has a lot of good people, nice people, kind people, but no leadership in the sense of a good community has a good rabbi.
In the mid-1990s, Modi'in was established, one of the largest cities in Israel. The area also became a popular tourist attraction. Inside the village, we can see the remains of a Byzantine monastery.
We have a Byzantine monastery from around 400 CE. On the top of the hill we can see their church, and here we see the oil presser, which is one of the most preserved pressers in Israel.
But perhaps the most significant event in the history of Mevo Modi'im came in 2019.
In the middle of the party, we see smoke from far away. The kids start yelling very fast. In like 20 minutes time, we already got the kids back in their houses, like all the kids that were at the party. 5 minutes later, we basically understood that we have to flee. And we had about 20 minutes, a half an hour to grab whatever we had and get out.
I went from house to house. I almost woke people up. They were sleeping, and I woke them, get out, there's a fire. And from house to house, and then I went to our house, and then we left.
Most of the houses were destroyed in the fire, and the residents had to leave the village for several years. Not all of them returned and rebuilt their houses. Though it was certainly a traumatic event, some see it as a blessing in disguise.
We feel this is our Nachala. We feel connected to this. And I think all the people who came back, even though we're on different levels, religiously, spiritually, we all feel this is our Nachala. That's why we came back.
Nowadays, Mevo Modi'im is moving towards another chapter. After years of planning, the village is expanding with hundreds of new houses. The residents have mixed feelings.
How can we maintain that the community will remain so special? We have to work hard, and we have to give this specialness over to the new people that are coming. We've already had 2 meetings with some of the new people and our families, and we all talk to each other about what our dreams are and how we got here and where we came from. And we really feel that these people are interested in coming here because of who we are and with what this community is, and they will help us continue on our way.
Listen, if you want quiet and peace, you don't stay here anymore. It's over. If here, of course, everything will become. In 10 years from now, you won't recognize anything, because land is money, and But I personally, I don't think I'm staying here. I'm trying to sell my house.
You asked me in the beginning, what is Mevo Modi'im? I could tell you what it was. What it will be is, I guess, what the people that come here and what they make it, what they believe to make it, and what we make together.
We had a gathering here last Thursday, and unfortunately we have, whatever, I don't want to say anything bad, but the program that they chose was really not suitable for us. And even the people from outside who came said, oh, we expected to hear Shlomo singing and Shlomo stories. We didn't think you were going to have a cocktail party. So, it's hard maybe for people to understand us, but most of us are clinging to the simple life. And, even though there will be big houses here and we'll be a little bit buried, we'll still be here.